because we all know the relationship between Upland and Mildura, which is very everybody's very aware of that being a moment in history, which is on the Chaffey Memorial behind us. But there's a few other things that relate to the American independence, and particularly the 4th of July, that relate to Australia. On the 4th of July 1776, when 13 American colonies, they were British colonies, 13 colonies of Britain, joined together to form the United States of America. That had a really significant effect on the world at that time, because it was the first time that a group of colonies had formed a nation. But secondly, back in Britain, they'd been sending convicts over to America, to the 13 colonies, and suddenly they couldn't. And hence, the British jails were filling up. They were putting convicts into hulks, etc. And so in 1787, a fleet, the first fleet, was sent to Australia to open up a new colony where they could send convicts, basically. So the two nations were both joined together on a British heritage, and both of them had the convict shipment from Britain as a key part of their establishment. But the second point about the significance is that the Declaration of Independence was by 13 American colonies, British colonies, who wanted independence from Britain. That date is significant for America, but our date is the 1st of January 1901, when 6 British colonies in Australia formed the Commonwealth of Australia. Both very significant times and very similar establishments. The only difference was the British influence in America was very much on a war, and there was a lot of violence and in the American independence, which we didn't have. The third point of connection is our Commonwealth, our government. The government of Australia, as we know it, is of a House of Representatives and a Senate. In America, it's the same sort of system. A House of Representatives being in the American government and their Senate. Now, in the Westminster system, though, the system is a House of Commons and, of course, the House of Lords. So often people refer to the Australian system as not the Westminster system, but in fact the Washminster system, because it's very much taken from the American model of our system of governments. So that is an outline, but unfortunately the flags aren't up. But when they go up, I just want to point out the significance of the two flags. There is a lot of similarity between the two flags. The first is that they're red, white and blue. A lot of countries in the world, their flags are not red, white and blue. The red stands for valour. The white stands for innocence, being that the government of the country will always act in the right manner. And the blue stands for justice. Both the American flag and the Australian flag are red, white and blue. When the American flag is raised, it's got stripes, white stripes and red stripes. And that's significant with the colours. There's 13 of them. There's 13, which represents the heritage of the American independence. There were 13 states, colonies, that joined together for the American independence. The American flag has in the corner the stars representing those states. The original American flag had 13 stars. And over the years, as recent as in the late 1960s, 70s, that number has grown to 50. Our flag has in the corner the Union Jack, which represents our heritage, and similar to the 13 stripes on the American flag. But our flag also has a star, which has 6 points and one for the territories, that represents the original 6 states, colonies in Australia. The same arrangement. From our heritage, we also have the British Union Jack, and we also have the Southern Cross, which in many ways is related to our the Ballarat the stars and stripes there, stars there. One other thing I just want to mention was that King Charles recently said that when he was giving accolades to America, he said it was interesting that although they don't drive on the same side of the road, because the Americans adopted the French system of driving on the right, but he said it's interesting they didn't adopt the English language. I thought that was a good point. Right? Good point. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much.
Yeah, excellent. Oh,
Sensational.